All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Warrior Rulebook podcast with me, Monique Carmen, or Pretty Nikki, however you know me by. I know it's been a while, but we are kicking off with a brand new interview. And so today I am with one of my most favorite chefs in the entire world, on this entire planet. I am with Tamara Deguerre, as you know, is the owner of Perfect Blends. And so she is a chef that specializes in authentic gourmet spices and sauces. And she literally makes you feel like you can make any recipe. So if you are on the struggle bus with trying to create like delicious dishes that are healthy for you want to keep watching, because today we're going to be talking about like why the American diet is making you sick and what are some amazing alternatives to maintaining a healthy lifestyle. So, welcome to the show.
Welcome. Well, thank you so much for having me, Mo. Thank you so much. This is really exciting. This is, I think, my first podcast interview. So, this is really neat. Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. So, can you kind of walk us through like what is so wrong about the American diet in your opinion?
Oh, my. So, there's so much. But to start with, is pretty much the processed foods. Pretty much, it's a lot of processed foods, and what I mean by that, a lot of Americans, at least the modernized Americans, we don't have the time to cook. So because we don't have the time to cook, everything is pretty much rush, rush, rush. So we are pretty much consuming a lot of things that are not cooked, that were not made fresh from home. Everything is pretty much in a box, in a bag, or just quick. And so we are consuming a lot of just pretty much a lot of just unclean food. Um, a lot of trans fats, a lot of unhealthy oils, a lot of unhealthy sugars, a lot of unhealthy starches, a lot of sugar. Just you name it, pretty much the diet is unhealthy because a lot of it does not consume a lot of it doesn't consume fresh vegetables, doesn't consume vegetables at all, I should say, and doesn't consume fruits. So, unfortunately, that is pretty much, why the American diet it's unhealthy. It's causing a lot of chronic illnesses, a lot of diseases, you name it, a lot of brain fog and depression, and all of that comes with what we eat, what we put in our bodies, and unfortunately, we sacrifice our bodies for quick time, quick food, fast food. um we sacrifice our health, pretty much, not just our bodies but our health, because of our taste buds. Everything tastes good because of a lot of the MSGs and a lot of just unhealthy preservatives that are put in our food, and you name it, just a million other things. But that is pretty much it. Yeah. um and like pretty much, due to this month, which is Black History Month, I really wanted to pretty much talk about the African American heritage, and pretty much what we ate, what the American diet was traditionally, long, long time ago, even before, back to our ancestors. It was not a lot of this fried chicken. It was not a lot of the mac and cheese. Um, it really consists of a lot of greens, a lot of vegetables, a lot of fruits, healthy grains, a lot of yams, and just different types of yams, like the white yam, the sweet potatoes. Those were the really healthy, or the main traditional dishes that our ancestors used to eat. A lot of like greens, the kale, the collard greens, grits, and just really healthy, wholesome food that really kept you, that built muscle, that had really good, healthy proteins. And even though there was not a lot of meat eating back in that time, that was really for special occasions. We just didn't need to consume so much meat because we had so much hearty food that was readily available to us. But yes.
Yeah, and I could definitely say too, like, definitely growing up in a culture, not even really a culture, but just like a way of life, like where we have so much access to processed foods and seeing it being advertised, especially as a kid, like you see something that looks amazing, you're like, I want it, and then you grow up and become an adult, and you're just like, wow, like that, like it's gonna give me like a disease, like, and it's like I'm just like I wish like it was just present just to like how easy and simple it can be to eat like healthy. And I know for me, like the food pyramid, it just seemed like it was so unreachable to me. Like I was just like, there's like, get something from this group, get something from this group. And I feel like I was stuck at the bottom and I was like, got a little bit of meat, but everything else I was getting oil and dairy and stuff like that. So to me, I don't think the food pyramid like helped me very much because I wasn't looking at them vegetables like, oh, let me get that. So it was like my parents kind of had to be like, all right, you need to eat something green. So yeah, it's just I just feel like in retrospect, like I just kind of like um pretty much I was missing context as to how I could really make it like a thing for me, like to just really eat healthy.
Take a break from certain foods. It really helps give your body a break. It gives your body some time to recover from, overeating certain things, overeating a lot of starchy food, overeating a lot of meats, overeating in general, things that just brings us a lot of pleasure where we just don't have the discipline to pretty much say, hey, I've eaten too much bread or too much sweets and things like that, or too much fried food. I know right now there's this really great fad that's going back to like eating healthy and all of that, and I just hope it sticks because there's all these different types of diet trends that they still don't focus on the traditional nutrition aspect of how we used to eat, when it comes to just having more fruits, more vegetables, a little bit of protein, or more fiber in your diet compared to a lot of the fried foods, a lot of the starch, like a lot of potatoes. Not that there's nothing wrong with potatoes, it's just limiting the amount of it and how much you're eating, and that you have other options of potatoes. You have sweet potatoes, which is better than the white potato. Um, and there's yams, and there's just a lot of other good foods, but we're not introduced, it's not in our faces all the time. So we don't know about them. A lot of like kale and spinach and bok choy and just all these different types of greens that, guess what? You don't see them on commercials. You see McDonald's, you see burgers, you see all those things, and they do look good. I've indulged in those things in the past, but when I realized that it wasn't giving me any nutritional value. There was no nutritional value in a lot of those foods. It just pretty much made me really feel sick all the time, especially if I overate or if I felt like it was just too much. The servings nowadays are just ridiculous also when it comes to food, that we just don't need to consume that much in one sitting. Um, what else? I realized that a lot of these foods were a lot of the processed foods were making us really sick, including myself. Just gave me the brain fog, um, um, the acne. What else? The cravings, the nonstop cravings. I just crave a lot of fried food, a lot of fried fish. I'm Caribbean, so as a Caribbean, even some of our foods, due to now the modern world, it just brought us to constantly frying, um, constantly cooking, just a lot of fattening meats. So I just found
Her
my
fried fish is good and her fried chicken.
Yes, I love meat. This is my weakness. Some fried fish and plantains and a little bit of salad to the side. Well, that's not how it should be. It should be a lot of salad, a little bit of plantain, and a small to medium portion of fish. Unfortunately, that's not what we do because that's not what we are taught. Because nowadays is just a big plate of just food and make sure you eat it all. Um, so yeah, when I realized that a lot of the food that I was eating or I was providing and making it for my family, it was just not doing us well. Is either we got addicted to it or it just made us not feel so great after we ate. And food is not supposed to do that. After you eat a really good, wholesome meal, you are supposed to feel satisfied. That means you shouldn't be going to the cabinet 5 minutes later looking for a snack
Right.
or looking for something sweet. It should be satisfying enough to hold you. So it doesn't give you all this constant cravings. Unfortunately, the food that we eat nowadays gives us a lot of cravings. It's either if you eat a lot of sugar, all of a sudden you're going to crave a lot of sugar. You eat a lot of fattening fast food, French fries, and etc. That's what you're going to crave for all the time. So that's just not healthy. I know
Yeah.
that's a lot, but sorry.
It's fine. It's good knowledge. So what would you say is like the biggest struggle with people just trying to eat on a more consistent basis, other than like, there being bad options out there that's readily available?
I think it's time. We are so busy. One of the things is I think a lot of people do want to eat healthy. They do want to eat well. They come to acknowledge that they're not feeling well sometimes at what they eat. They do acknowledge that they want to eat better. It's just time. We have issue with time. We're doing so much, there's the time is so short during the day, at least for many of us. We just don't know how to manage our time, but we do have the time. But that is usually the concern or the problem, is that it's time. I don't have time to cook the food. I don't have time to go shopping. I don't have time, to make such a healthy meal, because people assume that all healthy meals are labor intensive, when that's not necessarily always true. Another reason besides time is finding quality food, finding those foods within your community, within your neighborhood. Sometimes not all neighborhoods provide some of the ingredients that our ancestors used to eat. So some of the old ancient grains are not always available in certain supermarkets, like quinoa and you name it, bulgur, and I don't know. There's just so many. Not that I don't know. It's just a whole list of different healthy grains that we should be consuming, instead of rice and potatoes, etc., etc. Besides the red potatoes, but sweet potatoes. But beside that, that's just one of the main things. It's time and the proper food, the actual food itself. Some people know they just don't have the time to prepare it, and they rather go the quick way, which
Yes.
unfortunately is not healthy.
Yes, and it does look kind of intimidating, especially trying to cook something that like is foreign to you. Like very recently I got into like trying different kinds of color, like cauliflower. Like I didn't even know there was like orange and purple cauliflower out there and purple sweet potato and stuff. And so like my dad like marvels at me sometimes because he's just like, you're in here just like cooking like random stuff and it's like so different. But he knows like he's proud of me, and he says like that my mom would be proud of me too, because like just the fact that like I'm trying to cook like different things. So I think like having like a nutritional expert like nearby like really helps you and makes you feel like you can like cook anything literally. So can you briefly tell us about like your spices and your sauces and what makes the spices like different from your traditional sauces?
Okay, yeah. So my dry blends pretty much they just bring a type of ease to the kitchen. So a lot of people tend to have, you know, a little bit of concern or feel intimidating using sauces in their dishes. They don't always know how to use a sauce to marinate, or use a sauce to use as a base for a soup or a stew. So I just felt like, let me introduce, you know, not just introduce, but let me bring a different aspect of seasoning your food with the dry blends. So it's much easier, it's quicker. It doesn't take a lot of guessing. You just sprinkle, you know, as much as you like to your taste. If you like it a little bit spicy, a little bit more heat, then you have that option. But it's pretty much the same. It has all natural. It's just pretty much all natural herbs and spices. So you really gonna smell the aroma when you shake the jar, which I really love. So it just gives you an idea of what your food is gonna come out like. It's what your food is gonna taste like due to just by you, you know, opening that cap and smelling it. It just makes you already happy by and makes you want to cook. So and another thing that's really unique about the dry blends is that the traditional Haitian marinade usually comes in a sauce base. So this is pretty much a game changer within the Haitian community, because they're not accustomed to using the ippies as a dry blend. It's usually a sauce where you just take it, add it to your rice and beans, use it as a base, and use it as a marinade for all meats and seafood. But now that you have the dry seasoning, it just makes things much easier. It's not as messy as using a sauce. So that's pretty much it.
Yes, I love them, so I can attest to them. I've tried, like, all of them literally, so and she uses, like, fresh herbs, so it's not like the herbs that's just been sitting in a jar for, like, 12 months in a grocery store, so definitely check it out. Like, I'm not even just plugging just to be plugging, like, I use it in my practically everyday cooking. So highly would recommend it. Go to myperfectblends.com and try them out. So we have a few minutes left with Sister Deguerre. So I just want to ask about the new direction that Perfect Blends is going into. And specifically, can you tell us about your new coaching program that you are developing?
So yeah, so I am working on pretty much building a great I've always been inspired by healthy eating. So I've been working on holistic nutrition. And I just feel like holistic nutrition is pretty much a great way to teach people how to live a healthy lifestyle through healthy eating. So pretty much living a healthy lifestyle, you start with obviously your mental state. You pretty much touch on your health in every aspect as a whole, the person as a whole, you know, them mentally, spiritually, and to find out pretty much what is it that you want out of life when it comes to healthy living. And one of the first things is pretty much to eat healthy, because that will lead to a healthy lifestyle, pretty much long life, right? No chronic diseases. So that is why I really wanted to pretty much start work on that and introduce that to my customers. And with that being said, I would love to work one-on-one with anyone, not with anyone, but for those who are looking to live a healthy life, those who want to sustain a healthy weight, whether you want to lose weight, whether you want to gain weight, whether you want to keep your weight. If you want to keep, you know, just staying healthy, how do you do that? Through nutrition. So I will introduce, you know, my clients pretty much with an individual meal plan, just based on their lifestyle, what they like to eat and things like that, and introduce a healthier option for that, a healthier option of their diet, of their daily routine when it comes to adding exercise if they're not accustomed to exercising. Pretty much teaching them how to meditate, pray, adding all of that into your life. Those things will help, but a lot of times it starts with your mindset wanting to get the help that you want, you know, realizing and coming to grasp that um, understanding and realizing that you do need help, or that you want to maintain or get the help that you need from a professional, someone that knows what they're doing, someone that you can trust. And lastly, we'll pretty much teach some of my clients, for those who do not know how to cook, pretty much give them some really great cooking tips, also giving them cooking classes to teach them how to incorporate this lifestyle, how to cook a healthy meal without getting intimidated, a healthy, quick meal. Like I said, a lot of people tend to think that a good, healthy, wholesome meal takes a long time. That is not true. Certain dishes, yes. But, if you have a very busy lifestyle, whether you're single or, you have a family, there's a lot of easy, quick, healthy dishes that you can make for your family without having to feel like you have to order a pizza or order French fries, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to building that and introducing that in the near future to my customers.
Wonderful. Yes, that sounds like an amazing program, and I can't wait to hear more details about it because it really sounds like something that can keep people on track. And so, if you do want to connect with Sister Tamara and ask her more questions about like this upcoming coaching program or just general health questions, you can connect with her on Instagram at Perfect Blends. And I did put the link in the chat for those of you that are watching live. Just one more question, just to wrap up
Yeah.
really concisely. A viewer has a question. She says, food desserts are very prominent. Side question, what do you think of companies like HelloFresh or Thrive Market?
Okay, those the thing is with those, I think that some of them are very good. I think that it's a matter, and I truly believe that they do provide a really decent recipes. I just think that we have to be very careful with some of the sauces. If Since you were specific, I'm sorry, not sauces, but desserts that you mentioned. When it comes to the desserts, it's just a matter of the sugar, the type of sugar that they are using. That's a lot of the sugar. It's really unhealthy, and now sugar's in everything, right? So I think if you are focusing on calories and losing weight, or preventing diabetes, then you have to focus on the amount of sugar that you are consuming from some of the products, the little packets sometimes that comes with it, for you to sprinkle, some chocolate fudge over your strawberries or your fruit. Sometimes they can be very unhealthy. So I suggest that you read the package and make sure that the level of sugar, the level of sugar, it's at, the level that it should be according to you. So certain people, it differs. So, but I truly believe that they do have, from what I've seen in the past, they tend to have a really great line of recipes with really good vegetables, and it looks pretty fresh to me. So I've never tried them before, but I've been on their site before, and I get a lot of their mail and stuff, their handouts and flyers. So it looks pretty good. So
Great. Well, thank you so much for your insight and your wisdom and for being here with us today.
thank you. Thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun, and I hope to come back another time.
All right, wonderful. So now that you have listened to this episode, if you enjoy it, please share it with a family member or a friend. We also have the Warrior Rulebook Podcast Insiders group on Facebook, and I will link that in the description. And yeah, be sure to check it out and continue the conversation there. Bye.